Farming mastery points in Granblue Fantasy Relink Endless Ragnarok. Everybody's doing it. Everybody wants to know what is the most efficient grind that you can do in order to get as many mastery points as possible. So I'm going to cut right to the chase and tell you guys what the quest is. If you go over here to the quest counter, you go undertake quest, you're going to select Fate Breaker difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty, the one that's right above my head. And then you're going to be going to Chaos++, and from there you're going to look at the quest for Dragons the Apocalypse. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the most efficient way that I have found, or may not need, depending on what point of progression you are currently at. So to give you guys an idea, a reward for this quest can net you, for starters, it's going to net you about 8 minutes. It's a little bit more than that because there's some cutscenes and stuff like that, so make it like 9 minutes or something along those lines. And then there's obviously the time in between transitions, but for about 9 minutes, this is kind of like one of the biggest bangs for your buck that you can get. As you guys can see, you're going to get about 74,900 mastery points, actually 75,000. But that's not the reason why this one is the best. The reason why this one is the best is because you're also going to be getting those two summons that you see there, which I think I have a screen grab here. It's these two summons you guys see on screen right now with the exclamation marks on them, and each of those is going to net you an additional 9,000 if you happen not to need them. And if you happen to actually get good summons out of it, even better. You can actually equip those and be even more efficient with your grinds. But just in case that you don't even get anything good from the summons themselves, you can sell them back for 18,000 more, or even a little bit more than 18,000, but you guys get the idea. For 18,000 more, let's call it like, let's just say 15,000 for the sake of rounding things down. Considering that you're getting 75,000 here, that's like 90,000 MSP per run. But on top of it, you guys can't really see because this thing actually scrolls, and this is just a screen grab from a previous run that I did. There's also a bunch of silver centrums in this quest, like somewhere in the vicinity of 40 of them or something like that. And on top of it, there's also some Fortitude crystals L and a bunch of Ascension materials, or it's not Ascension, the other thing, Transcendence materials for your Terminus weapons as well. So it's a very efficient grind. It's really, really good. It's one of the best grinds that you can do. Why am I then making this video if a bunch of people already talked about this one? Because naturally, not everybody's going to be at a progression point where you can actually go and take on the 4 Dragons of the Apocalypse. So there's a couple of alternatives here. So if you're in the very beginning of your Endless Ragnarok experience, you can also do Jumbo Crab's title fight. This one works. It's okay. It's not really my favorite. There's some decent rewards in here. You guys can get, like, you know, a couple of these Azurite Splendors. You might get a couple of summons. Most of these summons seem to be pretty bad, at least the ones that I got when I ran it. Then again, I didn't really get a Rock Golem. I don't know how much a Rock Golem is worth, but I got like some Wee Pincers and a Fire Spirit and whatever. And those were pretty bad. It was not, you know, it was like 400 for one, 300 for the other one in terms of rewards. And in terms of the actual rewards that you get for completing the quest, you're only going to be getting around 10,000, give or take, in terms of MSP for completing the quest, which is right here, 10,500. You do get a couple of materials and all of that good stuff, which is all well and good, but like 10,000, let's call it 11,000 if you count the summons. 11,000 MSP per run is not really something that I would consider very good. You can do this one if you want to, not the one that I would recommend. Now, the next one is going to be something that you're going to need at least a halfway decent team, because the quest that I would actually recommend that you farm is the Final Vision with Lucilius. Now, this can all be done in auto, so you can just leave it running. The quest itself for my team takes around 4 minutes and change. Let's call it like a little bit below 5 minutes to complete. I'm not going to be using the actual time that they say on the screenshot, because those times are not correct on account of the fact that I've noticed that the times don't actually take into account the cutscene times, and there's a lot of cutscenes. So for this one, if you have a very well optimized team, you'll be able to do it like sub 5 minutes, but probably if you're doing this, it's not going to be sub 5 minutes. But regardless, the main reason why you would do this one is those little flowers that you see over there. You see those little white flowers like right around here? These flowers, 3 of them, actually give you an ambrosia, and an ambrosia is 15,000 MSP. Sometimes this quest can also reward you with ambrosias. You always get, at the very least from what I've seen, seems like you always get 3 of these flowers. 3 of the flowers convert to 1 ambrosia, and if you happen to get 3 of the flowers and an ambrosia, then you're looking at 30,000 MSP, which is pretty good. But again, this is an old quest, so it's not necessarily something that I'd recommend you grind, but it is an option that is there if your team is able to solo this fine and you don't have access to better grinds. So do keep that in mind. Because you guys are wondering, okay, how do I trade these flowers that you're saying that, like, I can get ambrosias for the flowers? Hell, what is an ambrosia? You might even be wondering. Well, if you go to your inventory and then you actually just select on treasure, you can go over here and just select consumables for your filter. You're going to see an ambrosia here. Ambrosia is something that you just use, and when you use it, you're going to gain 15,000 MSP. So to me, getting ambrosia is actually a very efficient way of doing things, and the way that you get ambrosia is come over to Sierra's Knickknack Shop. You can go to treasure trade and just scroll up once to go to the very bottom, and then just scroll up a few times, and I think it's like, is it the 3rd ambrosia? Might be the 2nd, I don't know. It's this one. Just look for an ambrosia, and you can see there, Canaan White Bloom. 3 of them convert into an ambrosia, which is 15,000 MSP. So doing that quest that I said there with Lucilius is always at the bare minimum, like 14,000 MSP. If you're looking to get an ambrosia on top of that, you can get 14,000, 16,000. You can get up to like 31,000 MSP for doing that quest. But again, this is something that I would really only do if you don't have any of the other quests available to you. So, you know, some people like to grind it early on. This is an alternative instead of actually doing Jumbo Crab. I think that this one's a better alternative. And because you can now just set your characters to full auto assist. If you guys go to System, Game Options, assist mode, full assist mode, it actually works in Proud Quests now. As a matter of fact, it works all the way to Chaos+++. The only place where it doesn't work is Defy Infinity, so you're able to just AFK grind the whole thing. I would recommend having a Eustace in your party if you're doing AFK grinding at all, because Eustace is potentially the best character for AFK grinding. This was just a lucky coincidence for me because I liked Eustace playstyle and I also like Eugen, so these are like 2 very good characters for grinding. Another one probably beat add to the mix would be a Rackham. Rackham's probably really good, but I don't have a Rackham set up, so I'm using my Galanza and my Captain. But yeah, Rackham and potentially Twaywin. Twaywin's also a very good character for AFK farming, so do keep those things in mind. But yeah, having a Eustace helps out immensely for pretty much all the AFK farming you might do. But anyways, beyond that, let's say that you may have access to Chaos Plus. Eventually, when you get to Chaos Plus, you're going to get Revenge of the Ooze. That is another one that you can do. I'm not a big fan of this particular quest because sometimes, even if you're using Eustace, as I'm sure a lot of people have told you, because Eustace starts like dodging and flipping and dodging throughout the whole screen, automatically attacking, and you might actually get good clears here. It is still inconsistent. From time to time, you will have like a spawn of slimes where Eustace will kill like 4 slimes and then stop moving, which is very annoying. A recommendation that I do have if you do tackle on Revenge of the Ooze, make sure that you recruit another Eustace for yourself. The way that you do this is you can see over there in the backup characters, just press on right bumper. When you hit right bumper, you can actually filter the characters that show up. You press the, which button is it for filtering? Oh yeah, it's the share button on the PlayStation controller or the back button on your Xbox controller. And then in here, you're going to go up instead of down. And on the second page, should see Eustace. When you see Eustace, hit refresh list. And then just grab one of these Eustaces from the list. It's really not super important which one you grab. So long as they have a couple of like damage cap sigils in there, you should be fine. So we can just pick up this one. And then you can... Really, dog lover on your title? Okay. Then you can grab Eustace together with your Eustace, and you'll have 2 Eustaces in the quest. And that sometimes helps with making the quest a little bit more consistent for Revenge of the Ooze. So that would be my recommendation if you are using Revenge of the Ooze to go ahead and do it. As you guys can see, you're actually looking at 52,850 MSP, which is quite respectable. And sometimes this can go as high as like 72,000 or even a little bit higher, so this depends on how well your results actually do. You might also want to equip Path to Mastery if you're repeating this one multiple times, because it just helps out with you getting a little bit more MSP throughout the quest itself, so it's all very good. Not to mention that if you happen to need currency, this is also a good quest to run, because you also have the glitter crystals, but like I said, it is a little bit inconsistent when you are doing it for the MSP, and for that reason I actually tried getting away from this quest as soon as I possibly could. And you know, the natural jumping off from this one is the Four Dragons quest, but I am now going to suggest something a little bit off the wall, and this one really is only if you have the team to do it, which would be a prayer for Black Wings Demise on Chaos++. This is actually one that I really like because it has a couple of advantages in regards to some of the other quests. See, where some of the other quests that I've been talking about, with exception with the previous Lucilius one, all of those quests are giving you the MSP as you are completing the quest. And in case you guys don't know, there is a cap for MSP at 999,999. And so what happens is if you hit the cap, then all of the other MSP just instantly go to waste. So you have to be stopping your grind, you know, eventually when you hit the cap, actually apply the MSP to the character that you want to apply it to, and only then you can continue. Whereas if you're doing this one, the cap is a lot more generous. So to give you guys an idea, when it comes to doing a prayer for Black Wings Demise, you're actually looking at potentially getting upwards of, at the very minimum, you get 13. I've gotten like 15 every now and then of the flowers. So if you get 13 of these flowers, you're able to exchange it for 4 ambrosias. 4 ambrosias instantly gives you 60,000 MSP, but it doesn't get applied instantly. So basically you can get these flowers, trade them later, and then use the ambrosia whenever you need to, gain the MSP, go all the way up to cap, then use it, then use more ambrosia, so on and so forth. So this is kind of like a more sustainable farm, which is one of the reasons why I like it. Not to mention, you can also get summons from doing this one. In this particular run, I was able to get a Menagarmer, and that Menagarmer was traded for 10,000. So if you add everything up, you're looking at like 18,000 plus the 16,000, so like 78,000 if I'm doing my math correctly, which is somewhat comparable to the Four Dragons. The difference is that in here, you're not actually getting materials for your Terminus weapons. You're not actually getting as many Silver Centrums. I don't even know if I got any Silver Centrums in this quest. I might have, but definitely not as many Silver Centrums as you're going to be getting from the Dragons. So that's kind of like one of the advantages that the Dragons bring. They give you more Silver Centrums, they give you Fortitude crystals and all of that good stuff that adds to materials that you might need. But if you're already capped on Silver Centrums and you don't need more Fortitude crystal else, for which, by the way, there are likely better grinds that you can do, then this one becomes a very viable alternative, and it gives you a material that you can actually then exchange in order to get more ambrosias that you can actually keep, as opposed to just instantly transferring to your pool of MSP and instantly getting used up. So you can basically, you know, stack these things and then just use them over time to cap your points and then use MSP and so on and so forth. I find this grind to be very good, and on top of it, there's a chance for you also to get Lucilius' summon, which can come with some very good skills on top of it. And you can also get, I think it's either a Spartan Echo or what's the one that comes from this one? Let me see. You can get Celestial Ventus, you can get Alphas. I think you can also get betas and Gammas. They only show you the Alphas here, but I'm pretty sure you can get betas and Gammas as well. And you can get Zerker Echo, not Spartan. I thought it was Spartan Echo, but it's Zerker Echo. You can get Zerker Echo with some good effects here as well. You can get some gold spell books too for leveling up other characters. You get Ragnites for your Ascension weapons. So there's some interesting things that you can get from this quest, and that's the reason why I like to do it. Usually this quest takes around 8 minutes and change. Like, my team is able to do it in under 9 minutes, completely automatic without me touching anything. There's no setup, you just leave your characters in there. Again, I would recommend having at least one Eustace. You don't need to have 2, but at least having one Eustace makes things a little bit faster, particularly if you have a built Eustace. That comes in handy. But yeah, the Lucilius quest is actually one of my favorite ones if you're grinding for MSP, because you don't have to constantly stop your grind to, oh, I gotta go do management of friggin' MSP. I can just keep going. So yeah, these are some of the grinds. In terms of Fortitude Crystal L's if you just want to get a couple of fast ones. I haven't really had a lot of situations where I was stuck looking for more Fortitude L's, but there is a quest in here. Survival of the Fittest. This one not only gives you a ton of Fortitude Crystal L's, but it also gives you a lot of Rafali coins, which you can then use to either buy more Fortitude Crystal L's or buy more Silver Centrums. There's also a chance of getting Silver Centrums in here. So if you just want a couple of quick Fortitude L's, this is one of the faster ones. It only takes 4 minutes to do. But like I said, Fortitude Crystal L's also come from the 4 Dragon quests, so that is still kind of like, technically speaking, the most efficient one, just in overall terms of materials you're going to be getting and all of that stuff. But it is a quest that takes a long time. Maybe your team's not set up for it, whatever. But if your team is set up to do Lucilius, then yeah, Lucilius is a much better one. And do keep in mind, if you are using Eugen to do Lucilius, he does not get affected by paralysis or poison, so choose other skills on Eugen for that. But yeah, that's this video. I just wanted to share with you guys a couple of the more efficient farms of Granblue Fantasy Relink. Endless Ragnarok, if this was useful for you in any way, hit the like button, subscribe, notification icon, all of that jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out.